COVID-19 cases continue to rise in the area. We spoke with Dr. Matt Kodsi, the Vice President of Medical Affairs at CHI Memorial in Chattanooga. Our David Carroll spoke with him last week, and we visited with him again today to get an update on how vaccinations are going.
Let's begin with all these concerns that we've been hearing and having about the Christmas and New Year's surge, the strain on local hospitals. Of course, we're hearing nightmare stories out of New York and California. How do we compare with that?
So we've been relatively fortunate the past several days at least, in that the COVID numbers for hospitalization in this area have trended down. Although I will say we track our admissions every day, and yesterday we saw twice as many admissions as we did the day before. So I think the downward trend is coming to an unfortunate end, and we're about to see the rise again because of the Christmas and New Year's effect.
So that's what many of us were afraid of. Now, the last time we talked to you, you had just gotten your shot of the vaccine, and again, there are folks online who are spreading all sorts of information about terrible things that happen to those who have taken the vaccine. Now that we've had a week or so, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and honestly, we've not had any serious problems from the vaccine. There's been no serious side effects. People have done well. They've had the usual. Some people have had some muscle aches, or maybe a little bit of a temperature, or maybe a little bit of a headache, but lasting no more than a day at the most. For me, I had a little pain in my arm like I get with any vaccine when I get a shot, and it was gone by the next morning.
And I have read some accounts or predictions, I guess you would say, that the second dose might deliver more side effects than the first. Has anyone at Memorial, for example, gotten the second dose yet, or are we a little early for that?
Not yet. We'll start our second doses next Sunday, but I will tell you, looking at it sort of the same way, because the recommendation is for people who've had COVID to still get vaccinated, and we agree that that is the way to go. We are seeing that some of the people who've had COVID before, because their immune system is already ramped up a little bit to fight COVID, that when they get the vaccine, they are more likely to have some of those side effects. So we expect we may see the same effect when people get their second dose, because now their immune system has been prepped for COVID. Certainly not a reason to avoid it. Yeah, I would much rather have a low-grade temperature for a day than God forbid, end up in our ICU with COVID.
We're hearing some reports also, some concerns along the supply chain that the vaccines may not be as widely available as we had hoped, or that there may be some interruptions along the supply chain. What are you hearing about that?
So far, we haven't heard any major issues with that. We've been very fortunate. The Department of Health and their division dealing with vaccines has contacted us on a regular basis, has offered us vaccine doses. What they're looking at is up to weekly if we need that. So there's been no change to that.
Now, we're also hearing about this new COVID variant that has certainly created some concern. Will the current COVID test be able to detect that new variant?
So it's interesting. I've done a lot of reading on that in the past 24 hours because it's the question I've wondered as well. And the short answer is it should not affect our ability to detect it. And the longer explanation would involve really going into how the tests work. But when the tests are done, the PCR test, which is the most accurate, it doesn't just look for one gene in the COVID virus. It looks for more than one. So even if for some reason the change in the spike protein, which is the one that they've talked about, has changed, if that makes it so that the test doesn't see that spike protein gene, it will see the other genes in the virus and still detect it.
And finally, as this has become more available, I'm seeing many posts, we're getting phone calls. People are asking their relatives, they're asking their neighbors, hey, I've been told I qualify for the vaccine, or I've been invited to take the vaccine because of my age group or my job, whatever. And they're asking, frankly, non-professional people for advice on what to do. You're a professional. Here's your chance. If they ask you eye to eye, face to face, what do you tell them?
I wouldn't hesitate. It's not really a question. I would not hesitate to take the vaccine. I think people with health conditions, if they're concerned, they should speak to their physician. But honestly, people with chronic health problems are really the people who are most likely to benefit from the vaccine, because they are the ones who, if they get COVID, are at the highest risk for getting much sicker.
Dr. Matt Kodsi, CHI Memorial, we appreciate your time. And by the next time we talk to you, that second dose may have been administered. We'll get an update on how that's going. Thank you again
We
for
have to
talking
talk
to
about
us.
that. Thank you very much.